y'all, starting off with this Michael Jackson, story in 1 second. So a new documentary called Leaving Neverland has pretty much been making its rounds at the Sundance Film Festival, and it's getting a lot of people are really starting to change their perception about Michael Jackson. But his family, Michael Jackson's family, is livid at this documentary, and they released a statement, via media, and they say Michael always turned the other cheek, and when always we turn the other cheek when people have gone after family members and of our family. This is the Jackson way, the statement read. But we just can't stand by while this public lynching goes on. Michael was not here to defend himself. Otherwise, these allegations would not have been made. Now, the Sundance Film Festival is running a film, for people who don't know, called Leaving Neverland, where they pretty much detailing Michael Jackson's relationship with the 7-year-old boy, with another young man. That pretty much they're saying that, he was performing sexual acts and pretty much grooming, these young, children. Now, according to Robson, the abuse started when he was visiting his family at the Neverland Ranch, in Santa Maria, California, when he was 7 years old. Now, according to the allegations, Jackson performed oral sex on Robson and asked him to do the same in return. He would also ask Robson to get on all fours and expose his anus while Jackson masturbated. Robson says the abuse continued until he was 14 years old. He says in the doc that once he went through puberty and after one instance of attentive anal sex, Jackson, was not interested in him after he went, through puberty. It also must be noted that Jackson was brought up, on charges, but was acquitted. He was acquitted, for this, but these guys now, it's a documentary, almost like the R.Kelly situation. Don't want to really intertwine them, but now people are looking at Michael Jackson like he's a pedophile, even though the fact that he's been acquitted, found not guilty of this charge. Sam, man, what do you think about Leaving Neverland? Another film, tarnishing another legend of ours. What do you think about that?
Well, a lot of people are trying to say, and I see a lot of people on social media saying, well, after this R. Kelly dragon, we got to make sure that we keep the same energy for this Michael Jackson situation. And wow. I disagree with that, because unlike R. Kelly, who had forged documents, a marriage license with a 15-year-old girl, a sex tape, who everyone who's seen it with two eyes knows it was him, though he got acquitted. And then you got a situation with Michael Jackson where you have a lot of very disgusting, negative, real, just passe kind of rumors. Yeah. Things that he's been acquitted for, and things that all of the people that have been outspoken about him doing these disgusting things have all said they were lies, including the two gentlemen that are in this documentary. Absolutely. Robson testified at a trial that he slept in Jackson's room many times, but that Jackson never molested him. Safechuck made the same statements to investigators as a boy. So both of these two men said it. We all know Michael Jackson died in 2009. They want to come back out in 2013 and say that they, due to stress and trauma, were forced to face them and face the truth and admit that they were sexually abused. And then they do civil suits. But they're both also known as lying motherfuckers. Let's just call it for what it is. Woo! Yeah. Lying motherfuckers. Yeah, yeah. So when you have a situation where a man is no longer here to defend himself, yes, sir, whether you think he did it, whether you think he didn't, you no longer have a man here to defend himself. How can you just throw so much taint and so and so much this terrible, what's the word I'm looking for? Just disgusting,
the stain on
somebody's name. How can you do that?
Yeah, it's sick. It's sick, and this is, it's not fair, because when they had the opportunity was presented for them to take this brother down, they, went in front of the courts, and told them, that nothing ever happened. So the court, which we put our trust in, obviously, any other time, found out that it was there wasn't enough evidence to bring this brother Michael Jackson up on charges. But then you have a film that comes out after the man is dead that depicts him in a certain way. And not only that, a lot of people are saying that the film was very one-sided, that the director of the film didn't want to really do interviews where he could really be challenged. So there's a lot of, things that go on to say, that this is really an attack slander, defamation on Michael Jackson to exploit him for even more money, and to destroy his image, even further. I mean, it's like once you go to the court, that's all we can go with. Then we have enough evidence to convict. You can't come back and say, "Oh yeah, he did it," and expect us to believe you. We gotta call you, what we feel you are, and that is a liar at this point. That's just what we feel, looking at the evidence in front of us.
Well, we asked ourselves a question in R.Kelly's situation, not to keep bringing up R.Kelly, and as far as, are they setting him up? Is somebody trying to destroy the legacy and name of R.Kelly? And we say, well, does he own his own music? And obviously he doesn't. Does Michael Jackson own his music? Yeah, he owns a lot of his music and a lot of other people's music, a lot of legendary catalogs out here. Michael Jackson was very connected. We all know how this music industry works. We all know how these masters work out here when it comes to their masters and other people's masters. So when you look at when you ask yourself, why would they want to take down someone like Michael Jackson? Why would these disgusting allegations? Because we all know, how do you have someone turn on them, somebody else? Go ahead and say they did something to a child. We all know Michael Jackson loved children. He was just generally just loved kids. And maybe he was somebody that didn't quite or was understood like you and I maybe understand something, but that doesn't mean that he's molesting children.
Right.
He was an open book. His shit was open. Everyone was able to go in there and see what they needed to see. No one ever said they were molested. Now you have certain reports that came out and said this and that was brought up in court. If Michael Jackson was guilty of any of those accounts, trust and believe, during those times at the height of his career, his ass would have been in jail. Didn't matter how much money he had or anything. He sat in courts numerous times throughout his career for the same situation and never was brought up on anything. You ask yourself why? They want that money.
Well, let me just, I gotta, read Robson and Safechuck. They made a statement because people were coming at them about the money. Yeah. They say they made it clear they were never offered any compensation, for participating in Leaving Neverland. They say, we are just trying to tell the story, to shine light on it, says Safechuck. The same way, knowing Wade went through this, we can give other people the connection and comfort that we received. So they said they didn't receive any compensation at all, for this film. They just wanted to tell their story. What are your thoughts on that?
So you put your name out there, so now you can get interviews, you can sit on ABC, you can do hair. Don't fucking play me with no goddamn, you didn't make no money on this. You made plenty of money from this, you pieces of shit. And that's with all disrespect, because I sit here and ask you, you had reports on him that he molested you, you sat in court. If you really wanted justice, then you would have had his ass sitting in jail if he really did these disgusting things to you. Or like a OJ situation, when you see the Goldmans, they sat there and filed a civil suit. They're getting money for this situation, whether you're guilty, found guilty or not. We're getting compensation because we knew you did wrong. You didn't file a civil suit then. No money was passed around. Now all of a sudden you get this moral fucking compass and want to go ahead and do a documentary so that you may not be getting compensated, but you can go ahead and do some interviews like a lot of these people that did documentaries are doing right now. They're cashing in.
And it leads to books, and it leads to all different things, opportunities that we may never, when we're forgetting about this, they'll still be making money off his legacy. That's what it looks like, here. Again, we weren't there, so I do want to make it clear. But the fact that the opportunity was presented, to pull this man down, if it was true, they found that it wasn't true. They testified under oath. It is what it is. That's the only thing we can go with at this point, was on the court record, and it appears that Michael Jackson was innocent of that. So this documentary right now is slanderous. Now it doesn't say, make it clear whether the family is going to go after them, to try to sue them. I think they can, but I think it may be a long shot. It is defamation and slander, on the estate of Michael Jackson. So I do expect them to. So that'd be interesting to see how that unfolds.
Let's make this a learning lesson for everybody. If you have a child, if you're a parent of a child, don't leave your fucking kid with anybody you don't know. I don't care if it's Michael Jackson. I don't care if it's this person, that person. I don't care how much you think you trust them. If that's your child and that's your baby, and there ain't no other babies running around like a birthday party, don't leave your kid with them. It's that in itself is very suspicious for a parent to just go ahead and willingly drop a boy off to a grown ass man's house.
Right.
That at that point is knowingly out here, whether it be true or not, for doing nasty things, in particular to little boys. So you go ahead and willingly go ahead. Now, Wade Robson was a choreographer. He used to dance and all this shit. Why leave your kid over there? That's something crazy that you got to really question. So just to take it up as a learning lesson, if you find yourself in this situation, be there with your kids.
Yeah, no doubt.
Be there with your kids.
Yeah, definitely. But you're tuned into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother, Old God and Sandman, blowing through your speakers today.